Hey, if you enjoy this, please subscribe to my channel and help me grow the community. Give it a thumbs up if it resonates and drop your thoughts in the comments. I check them all. Appreciate it. I never imagined one simple statement could tear a relationship right in half, but I suppose I didn't realize how lightly folks handle commitment nowadays. I'm Ethan, and up until a couple months back, I figured my wife Sophia and I were rock-steady, cozy, flawed, headstrong, but strong where it counted. We shared 4 years of morning routines, lame puns, slightly charred waffles, and lazy Sunday vibes. Nothing fancy, just authentic. That's why the evening it all shattered seemed so bizarre, like a setup, as if somebody had replaced my wife with an imposter in her skin. It kicked off with her walking back and forth in the family room, phone gripped like a hidden gem. She wasn't owning up to concealing anything. I was sorting clothes, partly paying attention, not pushing, but her steps were noisier than normal, like she hoped I'd inquire. So I did. "Sophia, what's up?" She halted her steps, stared at me with a blend of regret and boldness, then spilled it. "I need you to be okay with my connection to my old flame, or we can end this relationship." Boom, no build-up, no gentle ease-in, just an order dressed as a warning. At first, I truly believed she was pulling my leg. Some weird stab at excitement, perhaps a lame social media fad she'd latched onto. But her expression remained rigid, mouth firm, gaze unyielding. "Huh," was the best I could spit out. "He messaged me," she replied, almost on guard. "Jordan, we chatted before and it was comforting, known territory. I longed for somebody who gets me that way." Her comments cut deeper than she likely planned. Not due to her missing him, but because she confessed it without hesitation. As if the partnership she had with me was some courteous hassle she could push aside when old memories called. "Sophia," I said carefully, "you can't restart a link with a guy you once dated intimately and label it harmless." She raised her head. "You're acting jealous. You ought to have faith in me." Maybe faith would have come simpler if the device she held wasn't buzzing with notes from him. Notes she tilted out of my view each time it lit up. Then she barked sharper than I'd ever heard her shout. "Be fine with my bond to my ex or drop this marriage." For an instant, all inside me turned still. Not blank, not stunned, just still. Like insight shoved feelings out of the way and delivered a plain fact. So I answered, steady as can be. "Simple decision, sweetheart." Her gaze grew wide. She anticipated an argument, a collapse, perhaps a possessive outburst, but I refused to offer that. I wouldn't plead for the right to be undervalued. I headed to the bedroom, grabbed a light duffel, nothing overdone, nothing showy, just basics, toothbrush, shirt, cash, and then I hung around till she dozed off, still grumbling to herself about limits and childishness. Come dawn, I was out. No door bang, no message, no farewell, just emptiness. A quiet her ex couldn't replace. I headed to my sister Lila's spot on the other side of the city. She passed me a mug of Joe, held off on questions initially. She gets me enough to wait till I'm set to chat. And when I eventually shared, she simply bobbed her head and said, "Guard your calm, Eth." Some folks learn too late what they should have clung to. My cell started vibrating endlessly around 9 a.m. Sophia. Then 9:05 Sophia once more. By 10 I had a dozen ignored calls and close to 30 messages. The early ones stayed cocky. "We gotta discuss. Quit the theatrics. You can't bail just 'cause you're envious." Then the vibe changed. "Ethan, where'd you go? Pick up please, I didn't intend it that way. I'm worried. You alright?" I stayed silent. I wasn't prepared. By midday the notes turned desperate. "Please head back. I can't quit sobbing. Chat with me, hon. Please." And then the oddest ones hit. Ones that knotted my gut. "Why were you ghosting me? Don't pull this, Ethan. Return." I'm sorry, but the note that snapped my cool wasn't the regret or the begging. It was the one where she wrote, "Jordan said you're blowing it out of proportion. He thinks you need to mature." That was the bit that killed something inside me, 'cause now her ex, this echo from before, was bold enough to coach her on our union. That only occurs when a line's already been overstepped in secret. So when she rang again that night, tone shaky, murmuring my name like a wish, I picked up and delivered the line she never saw coming. "Who is this?" Her quiet on the line revealed it all. Her quiet was overwhelming. I could catch her breaths, ragged, panicky, like she was picking which side of me she faced. The Ethan she wed or the Ethan who'd at last quit bargaining his dignity. "It's me, Ethan," she murmured at last, tone tiny, nearly imploring. I let the phrase linger. No, I said deliberately. I'm unsure who this is now. The individual I recognized. She doesn't appear to be around today. She wept softly on the line. I kept quiet. Some facts hit harder in hush. I passed the night at Lila's, looping the moments repeatedly in my mind. Each part, each inflection, each request she tossed. It wasn't solely about Jordan. It was her readiness to rank her history over our now. And I grasped that no volume of begging or debate would shift that. I'd offered everything I had, quietly, sans fuss. And yet, I got handled like a flexible choice. By the following morning, her messages flew in quick bursts. The apologies and I adore you mingled with urgent pleas and queries I lacked responses for. Ethan, please respond. Don't abandon me this way. I need you to return. Sophia here. Speak to me. I scanned them all, one after another. My finger paused over the display before at last keying a response that would shape the rest of this tale. Who is this? The query was basic, but it packed years of letdown, irritation, and self-defense. It wasn't just for show. It was a test, a nudge that I was done playing in her story, not her feeling arena. Her answer arrived moments later, nearly frantic. It's Sophia, don't you recall? We've been hitched 4 years. I chuckled quietly, shaking my head. I knew precisely who she was. And I also knew the lady who professed affection yesterday had vanished. The gal on the other side of the screen was an unknown cloaked in comfort, wanting approval to reshape our existence her way. Sure. I keyed back and that unknown just hollered at me yesterday, said I must okay her ex or split. And now you're wanting me to pretend it's all good. So once more I ask, who is this? Her quiet hit right away. Extended this round, then a message. Ethan, please. I messed up. I didn't aim for that. Promise. I sensed zilch. Not fury, not sorrow, not even contentment, just insight. I'd already picked my path. My calm wasn't for trade. My worth wasn't open for talk. By day 3 she was dropping audio clips, begging with bits that rang more like shreds of blame than true remorse. I heard each one. I didn't reply. I let them linger. I uncovered something deep. Affection minus regard is a recollection, not actual. And anybody who thinks they can insist on faithfulness while at once ignoring limits, while wanting all from you and offering zero back, doesn't merit another shot. That night I gathered the remainder of my stuff. The little place now strangely hushed. I eyed our photos on the walls. Grinning expressions locked in moments. Recollections I'd forever value but couldn't dwell in anymore. I ditched them. I ditched the home. I ditched the one who'd once been my world. Cruising the calm roads I sensed an odd peace. Not victory, not justification, just liberty. The sort of liberty that arrives from at last choosing your sufficient solo. That insight cuts keener than any spat, tougher than any sobs, and firmer than any affection that's conditional. By midday, her messages tapered off. By nightfall, they were nearly absent. I didn't glance at my phone. I didn't have to. Each alert was a link I no longer desired. A week on, she attempted ringing again. I let it chime twice. Then the recording. Ethan, please. I goofed. I can improve. We can mend this. I still adore you. I listened once just to catch her tone one final time. Then I erased it 'cause the fact was straightforward. The lady I'd wed no longer was. The lady who insisted I accept her ex or bail had assumed all I'd provided as given. And I'd absorbed my takeaway. Never swap your dignity for another's old times. At times affection isn't about gripping tight. Times it's about releasing. And releasing doesn't seem like defeat. Seems like coming awake. I pulled up by Lila's, inhaled the fresh night breeze and grinned slightly. The path forward was unclear, perhaps solitary, but it belonged to me. And for the first stretch in ages that seemed sufficient. Because at the end of the day, the person you can rely on is always